I'm Shohini with the Carlota's Warriors. We are a collective of young people, primarily young people of color, who are organizing here in New York City. We visited Cuba last December for the International Conference on the Decade of People of African Descent, held in Havana, Cuba from December 8th to the 16th. And on that visit, we all, it was actually all of our first times going to Cuba and actually getting a chance to meet with folks. We visited community organizations, community projects. We also got a chance to visit the Centro de Fidel, where this documentary is coming out from today. We had a chance to also visit Matanzas, a site where we learned about the history of Carlota, who's a Yoruba Lukumi woman, who's an enslaved woman in Matanzas who led a rebellion in 1843. She has a large statue in Matanzas that we had a chance to visit. And after returning from Cuba and getting a chance to see the ways in which Cuban healthcare, Cuban solidarity, Cuban love exists, we took it upon ourselves to see and call out against the propaganda and attacks and disinformation spread in our media, particularly as young people who are on social media about Cuba. Part of these attacks, especially at the time that we returned and also now ongoing, are the attacks on the Cuban medical brigades, which are internationalists, part of Cuba's tradition of humanitarianism, of internationalism, providing life-saving healthcare to folks all across the world, across the Caribbean, in Haiti, in Italy, even during COVID. So many instances, and I'd love to share more if people want to learn more, but part of our organization and collective of joining to create the Carlota's Warriors was really to build a media campaign against this disinformation war, particularly spread by the United States government and media in our phones and on our computers and our media. And so we're a social media campaign. You can find us on Instagram at Carlota's Warriors for Cuba. Yania right over here is going to pass around the paper, which has our Instagram handle on it. But please follow us. We hope to share the truths, particularly right now, about the Cuban medical brigades and the life-saving care that it is providing and what an attack on the Cuban medical brigades can mean for people's lives across the world, and also for the sovereignty of Cuba itself. In the attacks against Cuban medical brigades, what's undermined is also this sovereign nation choosing to make agreements with other countries, providing this health care, and also to be able to sustain themselves in light of the U.S. blockade on Cuba, one of the longest blockades and sanctions on any country placed by the United States. But please follow us at Carlota's Warriors. The last thing I want to say, there's an upcoming delegation going to Cuba from our mentors, Dr. Rosemary Mealy and Dr. Sam Anderson, going to Cuba in honor of the 65th anniversary of ECAP, one of Fidel's other legacies of internationalism as well. And if you're interested in ever visiting Cuba as a young person, if you've been multiple times, if you want to try and see it for the first time, please connect with me. I would love to connect you with folks if you're interested in visiting Cuba on a delegation in the future or even upcoming more sooner. The last thing I'll say, Yania is going to pass around this paper. We are looking to connect with other folks who are on social media, who use social media and are trying to get in the work of doing Cuban solidarity from here in the States, and organizing and particularly calling out the attacks right now on the Cuban Medical Brigade. But as we move forward in the Carlota's Warriors, we have been talking a lot about how we want to connect the struggles of Cuba also with Venezuela, with Palestine, with other attacks of the US empire all over the globe. And so we're trying to build internationalist solidarity, particularly right now focusing on the Cuban medical brigades, but even beyond. Would love to connect with young people here and other folks who are on social media and grow our collective. I think I've said everything on my post-it notes. Okay, thank you. Yeah.